What's up, guys? Welcome back to the That's So Dev podcast. My name is Dev. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you. We have some tea to get into. Obviously, baking tea. It's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. What a wonderful day full of just being thankful for being around your friends, your family. I mean, even if you're not around them, having them in your life, just showing genuine appreciation, being thankful, even for the small things. you know it's been a time over the past year, okay, not just for me, for everybody. And I think taking a moment to be present and to be grateful for the things that you do have, um I think that that is very, very important, because in this big era of telling people never think that it can't be you. Never think that. Okay, so just make sure you take a moment today, just be present, right? And be thankful. Something so simple, because I specifically remember I remember a time, I don't know when this was, I think it was a couple of years back, when it was just something so simple, but I couldn't use one of my fingers, and it dawned on me, like, some people don't have the function of their hands, period. And the minor inconvenience to me, while a finger heals, I can't really use my hand. It makes you really just like, whoa, like, I'm so appreciative of the functioning that my body does. You know what I mean? Breathing, seeing, walking, very grateful for those things. And you have to be, because even when you go the slight tiniest bit without them, whew, Jesus. So again, make sure you take a moment to be present and thankful. I've repeated myself 3 times today because it's important. I want you to do that. Okay. Now let's get into this baking, because I cook up a storm, bake up a storm, whatever you want to say. Either way, it's going down in the kitchen. Okay. So let's just start off by saying, over time, I bake less during the holidays. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Mm. By the way, I got my tea. I'm sipping on it right now. Make sure you drink some water. But, each year, like I said, it kind of dwindles down. And the main reason is because at first, I remember several years ago, like when I even first started So Sweets, I was just like, I want to bake as many things as possible, just show them off. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Because that's just what I did. I just baked several things, so many things. That was my thing for the holidays. And as I've honed in on the craft of baking, and my style of baking, right? Because I think a lot of people think that, oh, I see these wonderful extravagant cakes and blah 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 and all that stuff, and I think that I compare it to being a singer. Like, as a singer, one of the biggest things is being honest with yourself, right? What is my range? What is my capacity? What can I do here? Obviously, I may, test the limits to see how far I can go, right? But at the same time, you gotta be honest, like, girl, like, I can't take it up there, right? So I gotta drop it down a key, and I can still execute this properly. So when it comes to this whole situation, again, I kind of just find it the same. You know, I I want to put more time and effort and quality into the individual items that I am baking. And when you're making too many things, you get so distracted, especially when you're baking. Because when I bake things, I kind of overlap. There's a structure to it, right? I'm doing X, Y, and Z in a row. But while I'm doing X, Y, Z in a row, I'm gonna prep A, B, and C, right? At the same, like, it's really whatever works for you. And that's really kind of the key here. And again, for baking, it's like, okay, I don't have to have these extravagant cakes. I can make what looks good for me. And that's what I do. So now when I take my time baking all of these cakes, the quality of them is just phenomenal to me. Excuse me, I'm recovering from a cold. I am not contagious, but girl, I'm struggling. Okay. Like, but honestly, just baking these cakes, girl, these cakes, these cookies, I can't stress enough the enhancement of quality. Because again, like I said, I've dwindled it down. So I focus on each individual thing. And it's also allowed me to curate recipes that have become signature to me, right? So I don't do all these extravagant pipings and stuff on my cakes and whatnot. I may just do a nice borderline outline, and that's fine with me. A nice clean cut cake, like that's fine to me. Totally. You know what I mean? But do it in your own way. Like if I can like spice this up just a little bit, whatever. If you've seen my bubblegum cake, if you've seen my cookie butter cakes, all these different types of cakes with just different approaches, because I don't want to have the same approach as anybody else. I want to have authenticity, which is why you get things like the bubblegum cake and the cotton candy cake and all these different kinds of flavors that people aren't doing, because that's the personality. That's me. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna have out just a red velvet cookies and cream and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna have a cotton candy cake that features cotton candy Oreos. Like that is just the out the out of left field type of thinking that I have in my brain. Just the sweetness. It's so sweet. So everything you should expect to be sweet. Girl. Now let me tell you about this menu. I and a big thing about my menus are not having everything being a specialty. Everything doesn't have to be a specialty. Everything doesn't have to be extravagant. So I like to have simple mixed with specialty. And I feel like that really just brings out the entire lineup. Like, whoa, got to take a minute to sip, girl, because, mm, whoo, let me tell y'all. This cold been trying to take me out over the last. It's been a week and a half, right? This respiratory shit that just constantly keeps going around that nobody seems to want to talk about. Yeah. Yeah. It's really doing me one in. Baking, I had on a mask the whole time. I had on gloves. I'm not even joking. I took every precaution because I feel fine, but you know how you're on the back end and all of that cold and sickness is just coming. Girl, anyway, because who asked? But like, we're on a podcast for baking. Hello, read the room, bitch. But like, you know, back to the menu. The menu, phenomenal. Starting off with brownies, right? So obviously, I love baking brownies, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to make a traditional, just a regular brownie. Like, what can I do to enhance a classic that I already make? And that's the big thing for me, right? You made something similar to this before, but not really. I've honed in more on the recipe. I've spiced it up just a bit, right? So I was like, So I made these mocha fudge brownies. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It tastes amazing. The texture, it's just so soft. It's so fluffy. I love a nice soft brownie. And I know people don't talk about this much, but sip my tea. But let's talk about it because brownies aren't exactly easy for me to make. They're not. I overthink it, and that's why. I think brownies are actually quite simple, but if you're an overthinker, it's going to be difficult. Just saying. Oh, girl. I mean, like, I think I've finally gotten to a point after a couple of years to realizing, like, hey, like, trust your instinct. When you think this is done, it's done, right? Because when you overthink it, that's usually when it ends up becoming overbaked or too tough or whatever. So, mocha fudge brownies, phenomenal. I'm obsessed with it, actually. I really am. So, moving on. Next, we have a Nutter Butter cookie. Oh, that Nutter Butter cookie, let me tell you, okay? Now, I do not reveal how I make my recipes, even more so now, because I really do be making from scratch recipes and shit. Like, the cake recipe I made today was just so phenomenal. I knew everything that I needed. In most of the time, it's chaotic with baking, and sometimes I do overthink it, but last year and this year specifically, no, I knew what needed to be done. I did it and it came out phenomenal. It really, really did. The Nutter Butter cookie is such a beautiful cookie. It has Nutter Butter inside of it. It has actual cookie pieces, but also grounded up pieces just all throughout it. It has a peanut butter drizzle on top of it. And honestly, guys, whoa. I'm not a peanut butter fan, but I love Nutter Butter. So these cookies are top notch. So soft and oh my goodness, it melts in your mouth. And the Nutter Butter pieces are so soft. I'm kind of gagged. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, move on. Because y'all know these podcasts for baking, they're not long. We're just covering the menu, girl. Okay? Now, look, we did a Chips Ahoy cookie. Hear me out, right? And I've done this before, actually. This is my second time making it. But the first time I did the hard ones. This time I did the chewy ones. Because I noticed some Chips Ahoy pieces weren't as soft as I wanted last time. So I was like, chewy is definitely gonna work out better this time, just because I just felt like that texture would go very well with the cookie. Hmm. And it did. So, just saying, by the way, it's such a soft cookie. I mean, so okay, I'll tell you this, right? So, I love to roll my cookies in other cookies, right? Some people do it with like a sugar, give it a sparkly coating and whatnot. But like if I'm making like a Chips Ahoy cookie or a Nutter Butter cookie, I'm probably gonna grind those up. I'm gonna get them to like a dust type particle, and I'm gonna roll those inside the cookie. So, well, hello, I am. I really, really am. And honestly, I just feel like it just gives it such a good appearance. The display makes it wonderful. It does. So this was just a homemade chocolate chip cookie, which, oh my goodness, phenomenal. Truly. With some Chips Ahoy's in it, rolled in Chips Ahoy. And for this one, I actually did some drizzle of a frosting. Not even a drizzle, really. But, I put some frosting on top of it in a little zigzag and dusted it off with some Chips Ahoy as well. So that turned out phenomenal. And I didn't bake too much, I did the two cookies, the brownies, and the cake. So we got the mocha fudge brownies, we got the Chips Ahoy cookies, and the Nutter Butter cookies. All three of those phenomenal. The cookies so soft, melty, buttery. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Girl, I'm gagging. Okay, now, hmm, the last cake, because I'm about to hop off here because recording these podcasts while you're covering from a cold. Oh my goodness, it's the worst. Okay, but like, I made a ginger molasses cake, and wonderful. And I'm sure some people are thinking, well, isn't that just a gingerbread cake? Like, not necessarily. I can see where you think that, but not necessarily. You can make ginger cookies, and they're not gingerbread cookies. It's just totally different. But with this cake, making it from literally the bottom up, it's a 3-layer cake. I normally only do 2, ever, unless I'm doing something similar to like a wedding cake, which I've only done like twice. And it was fun because the approach to creating this cake, it was almost like I felt so free and not bound by what I saw maybe on it. Like a lot of times if I see, like, for instance, the bubblegum cake, I research bubblegum cakes, but then I make it my own. But for this cake, I didn't look anything up. I knew what I wanted to achieve. So I created this homemade ginger streusel. Fantastic, right? Like, sips tea a little bit, but like, I created this idea based off of the things that I love. I love cinnamon streusel. I love ginger. I love cinnamon. Generally speaking, I wanted to have all of these things combined. I love molasses. Like, I wanted to make a cake that represented what I truly loved about the holidays. But normally, this kind of cake may come during Christmas, but it also fits the Thanksgiving spice area. So, again, I made a homemade ginger cinnamon streusel. I made a homemade ginger cinnamon glaze. I made a homemade buttery ginger cinnamon frosting to complement the cake because the cake really has the spice kick. And the frosting, while it has the spice, it really brings the cinnamon and butteriness that I feel like is needed to complete the experience. So, girl, let me tell you, this cake is top notch. It really, really is. So, I remember at the time because I had to figure out the molasses part. I had never actually truly used molasses. That's new to me. I've never made any recipe similar to gingerbread. Like, I kid you not. I planned this out for weeks, a recipe, and it's gagging me because it came out the way that I imagined. And again, it's because I just had that free thinking and that free will to just do whatever I wanted to, but also knowing that it didn't have to be this extravagant thing. Mm. So, I whipped my frosting. I look, buttercream frosting is annoying to me. It really, really is. If I can make an Italian buttercream that actually tastes good, I would. But I stick to my American buttercream, and that worked out quite well for me. I whipped it quite a bit, so it's a bit lighter, but it's also firm. So that way, the cake stood, it didn't slide, and all of that stuff. I mean, it was just perfect. It really was. I can't lie. Just the decorations. I wanted to, in between the layers, I put some streusel and some ginger icing drizzle in between the layers just because I wanted it to have the full experience. No matter what bite you take of the cake, you should be experiencing that spice and buttery sweetness. So I think that everything combined together really makes it amazing. The experience that I want people to have. So that's really all I have for today, y'all. I'm gonna hop off here because let me tell you, I'm struggling, right? But we got work to do. Okay. If you're looking out for my YouTube videos, I apologize. It's been a little slow. I've been sick. I've been busy. I've been working on the music. The holidays is here. It's crazy. But December, we will not miss a beat. Make sure you go ahead and put in that link what you want to see for Christmas reactions. December 1st, they are going all month long. Okay? Now, again, I'm hopping off here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the That's So Deaf podcast where you stay true and you stay you. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms because I didn't say this earlier, I don't think, at That's So Deaf on Twitter, Instagram, and literally everywhere else, including YouTube, because we got a popping over there. Okay? I was so excited to get into the podcast, I just skipped over it. It is what it is, y'all. I appreciate you. Drink some water. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you on the next podcast. Peace.